Welcome back. Gene Henley here, Chattanooga Times Free Press, SoCon pregame show host. I guess again, one of these days I may get a name. Maybe football season if we keep doing this. Maybe not till basketball, but next basketball season. Anyways, you know what we're doing here. Try to do things a little bit different today. It's been an early morning, a lot of things going on this week, so didn't get a chance to record a post game show. Been working on some really cool stories. For obviously the job that pays me. Obviously, a real good story about a good friend of mine and a former Brainerd basketball player, C.J. Black. My freshman year of high school at Cleveland High School, he had a dunk in the region championship game against obviously Cleveland that tore down the backboard. And so he and I spoke, and also spoke with Vincent Yarbrough, a couple other people, just about like that day, that moment. It happened in 1996, which was a leap year. Obviously, this is a leap year. Really cool story. Also got a story working on about Ace Bailey, who people don't know, but is a Chattanooga player, and he's a Chattanooga native. And he's the number 2, I believe, player in the country, McDonald's All-American. Really cool story on him as well. A lot of different things I'm working on, UTC, some stuff there, but it's never a bad time to plug. I mean, timesfreepress.com. Check us out. We still doing good work there. So yeah. Anyways, it's been a busy week, busy couple weeks really, but really wanted to kind of just nail down this show real quick. Kind of talk about just a couple things. I think going into yet another night of SoCon basketball. 5 games tonight as usual on the docket. Mercer at UTC. All these games are at 7. Mercer at UTC, Furman at Western Carolina, ETSU at the Citadel, VMI at UNC Greensboro, Sanford at Wofford. 5 good games. I think there's probably 2 to 3 of them that are intriguing. I think just mainly the craziest thing about it is right now, as we stand, Sanford has won the SoCon. Definitely congrats to them. I think they've been the best team. They fought through games that I think a lot of people, myself included, thought they'd lose. They probably would have given themselves a chance to perhaps be an at-large in the NCAA tournament even without the win. And obviously they got the NIT, maybe had the NIT, maybe, if they weren't to win the tournament. But all of their non-conference games stunk. It was horrible. So now they've put themselves in a position that they have to win the Southern Conference because they had a really sorry non-conference schedule. And they played a ton of games at home, and they got the metrics in their advantage. And it looks great. But I think going forward, the guys, Jack Gold, Matt St. Charles, do a great job with the 2-bid SoCon. And as a concept, that's amazing. But it's something I would love to see in my lifetime. But to do that, you actually have to schedule teams in the non-conference. And Sanford didn't. And look, it may not burn them, but this could be a team that wins 27, 28, 29 games, maybe gets clipped in the championship of the tournament, and they're in the NIT. That's probably a tournament caliber team, but that's why, like the scheduling. I remember talking with Steve Forbes about this back when he was at ETSU, and he had talked about a lot of things because he loved and the concept and the thought of this being a 2-bid league because it was good. There've been, we've still got 3 Sanford, UNCG, Western have all won 20 games. Chattanooga, if they win tonight or Saturday, they get to 20 wins. You have almost half the league, 40% of the league with 20 wins or more. Furman is as dangerous as anybody in the league, and they scheduled hard. They could have scheduled similar to Sanford. I mean, they may be 10-6 in the league, maybe not. I don't know. But they could have the 20-win stuff. Wofford scheduled hard. It's not about how good they are. They scheduled difficult non-conference competition, took some losses and took some lumps. But yeah, you've got to have a bunch of schools that are willing to go schedule like that if we really want to get this thing to a 2-bid concept. But yeah, anyways, a couple games I just want to touch on real quick. Mercer's probably the most interesting team in the league. I think what's crazy is all. I mean, we 7 of the 10 spots are still available, and that's just crazy to me. But it's not crazy because I've covered the SoCon for I think 8 of the last 10 years, I believe, or 9 of the last 11, something like that. So yeah, like Mercer swept UNCG, has beaten Stanford, has beaten Furman, but if they somehow fall into a tie with ETSU, they'd be below ETSU in the standings because they got swept by ETSU, which is now the 8th seed. Chattanooga coming off a bad loss. This is if you're a top tier team, top level team in this league. When I say top level, I mean like you're in that top half. This is definitely a avoid bad loss season, and Chattanooga did not quite understand that. Like, and I get it. It's hard. It's difficult. There's not really truly a great team. I think there have been some teams. Chattanooga had done a great job of taking care of business against the teams they were supposed to beat, and that. So therefore, they're in a good spot in terms of their positioning. I don't know. It looks like they could go. Just kind of glancing at the standings, they're 11-5 in the league. They probably can't fall further than the top 5. But they could be, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a scenario where tiebreakers land them at 5. I mean, they'd have to lose tonight to Mercer and Saturday to Western, both of those games at home. I don't think that'll happen. So they should be okay in that top 3 span. But I mean, this is also a Mercer team that is very, very interesting. Like for 2-3 games straight, all they did was just say, we're just going to just shoot layups all day. And then UNCG appeared to take some of that away because they've got size and they're physical. So what did Mercer do? They turn around and hit 10 threes. And look, I mean, Mercer finishes strong at Chattanooga, at Furman. If they split that, that gets them to that 8-win threshold. You never know what could happen with them. I mean, if Wofford loses the next 2 games, I don't know if tiebreakers work out for them. I don't think they do. But that's interesting because at this moment, Mercer's the 7th seed. At this moment, UNCG is the 2 seed. So if Mercer could beat VMI, the team that will be coming out of the play-in of that game will be playing a team that is swept in the regular season. In other words, SoCon basketball. And so, like, that's why positioning this time of year is so huge, so massive. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect from this Mercer. I don't know. There was a time this year where I remember watching, I think it was Mercer playing. It was an education day. I believe it was Florida Gulf. No, they lost it. So I think it was the South Alabama game. And I'm watching, and where they were at that point in the season was almost listless. And then you look, and they immediately reel off 5 straight, and you're just like, okay, maybe. But then they got into league play, they lose 5 straight in the league. Then they weirdly enough, they beat UNCG the first time in Greensboro. So long story short, I got no clue what to expect from this team. I think they're good, but I just don't know what makes them good. Like, they're young, but I think they may have a freshman of the year. I'm not sure who may deserve it more than any of those guys. Maybe Che from Chattanooga. I'll have to kind of look a little more into that because heck, I got to vote on awards Monday, but yeah, they're just a tough team, and again, that's what makes this league what it is that there's not this year. 9 of the 10 teams are not pushovers. I mean, we forget Citadel's 3-13, but that was also a team that was 8-5 in non-conference play. It's a good team. They beat Notre Dame, I believe. So it's a good team, but it's just crazy. And Mercer's had the best offense in the league the last last 2 weeks. Chattanooga's not comfortable, but they're not in bad positioning either. They've created that for themselves because, like I said earlier, for the most part of the season, they took care of business against the teams they're supposed to beat. And then obviously they beat UNCG as well, and they beat Furman. So they're in a good spot. So then you got Western Furman. That was a very interesting game with Pegues doing the Pegues things. Um, yeah, that was such a great. That was such a great game. I remember watching it, and it's just Pegues. It's just simply Pegues in that moment. And where would Furman be without Pegues this year? That's my question because who knows? Western in almost every single game they'll have the best player on the floor. Will Bright has been amazing this season. Like the kid deserves like everything he's going to get. Mid major, I think he'll be in some mid major lists and some big time player of the year list. And but for Furman, I mean, obviously they've got two kids. Foster's having an amazing season. He's so important to that team, and it's not always scoring. It's not always scoring. He's so amazing for that team because he's long. I remember I was talking to an NBA scout a few weeks ago and he was asking me about players in the league, and I was like, the Foster kid's a kid you should, poke your head in at some point, and I think I think he said it may be in Nashville for the conference tournament because you got a kid is long, is tall, has a great frame. He shoots it well. He handles it well. He does like from just a pure look at me standpoint. He may pass the eye test better than any other player in the Southern Conference. Perhaps like Sam Alexis from Chattanooga is on that list as well. To me, I mean, the best prospect in the league is Cooper Bowser from Furman. Prospect, he's got a long way to go, but if he can learn like some of those when he gets to like his senior year, I'll be interested to see what he is like as like a defender, like on the perimeter, because he's tall, he's long, and he can run, which means he can defend the basket. He can do a lot of that stuff. He's such a talented prospect. Like Furman got such a steal in that kid, and I'll be intrigued to see his growth. But I just want to say that about Foster because obviously, we look at his counting stats and they're not always great. I get that. He may have. I think they lost to somebody recently. I think it was it's the Stanford game. Stanford. It wasn't his best game, and some of that is just Stanford has so many Foster types. The 6'5" to 6'7", long, athletic. That's kind of where basketball is going. Is that like they're going in the direction of the 6'5" to 6'7". They're athletic. They're quick. They're agile. They can handle it. They can shoot it. They can defend. All of that, and you throw 3 or 4 different of those guys at them, and so there's obviously room for growth in Foster, but he's definitely one of those guys that I love to watch on a basketball court because he does so many different things. So yeah, like that's going to be such a great game. I believe that is going to be one of, if not the game of the night. Like Western needs one of these wins. Like they've done a good job of taking care of business against those lower tier teams, but the problem is they don't have that win. Like the top half of the league, they just haven't beat anybody, and that's kind of why they're in the middle of the pack. Ironically, if this was to hold, Furman would play Western on Saturday in the SoCon tournament, which is, my God, it's next week. It's March, baby. It's March. We're here. And so definitely game I'm intrigued about. I can't wait to watch. The other games, I mean, ETSU at the Citadel, it's not really a lot riding on that game. I think ETSU is probably the better team. Citadel has been good. They just haven't beat anybody. Lost a bunch of close games. Obviously took care of business against Chattanooga. We'll see what happens. Sanford at Wofford, not much intrigue there. Wofford's just really trying to fight for some sort of positioning. Weirdly enough, they could somehow end up in the playing round. I've seen some analytics that say that Mercer is actually a better team than Wofford, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. There is a way that they can determine that, and when they try to determine that, Wofford won both games. But Wofford defensively is bad. They're just bad, and so I don't see much intrigue now. Has Sanford washed all the champagne off, and have they essentially? I don't mean this literally, but have they essentially sobered up from winning the championship? This year ain't last year. I mean, everybody. I saw the pictures, and obviously, congratulations to that program. But this year, winning the championship is not like last year. I remember talking to Chattanooga's former football coach, Russ Usman, a few years back, and some of their players. And in 2015, I believe it was, they shared the SoCon championship, and they flatly said, we didn't like that feeling. I think they even got the automatic bid. But they didn't like the feeling because you don't want to share. Obviously, they got the championship last year. They could have won it outright and lost because they got blown out by Furman the last day of the season. This feels different. This feeling feels different. So this celebration was a little different. Wofford is a team that's going to be a little desperate. They need this win. Sanford doesn't really need much of anything except maybe some positive momentum. So how do they build off of that? So certainly a few things to watch out for. You know, as I close, definitely shout out to Belmont Abbey because I'm always going to shout out Belmont Abbey. It is what it is. Their season finale tonight at Francis Marion in Florence, South Carolina. Certainly, good luck to them. They're banged up this year, but they're fighting, and they're young. They're fighting. They're banged up. They're doing everything they can. So obviously, like I said, good luck to them. Then we'll see what happens to their conference tournament. Anyways, don't want to keep you. I appreciate you all watching. Continue to support everybody. Support 2-Bit SoCon. Support all the different podcasts, all the different people that are out here doing this, because everybody has the same goal in this whole process. It's to promote this league. And when it's time to move on, promote whatever that is. But right now, it's SoCon. It's this. It's Chattanooga. It's SoCon. It's March. It's basketball. And if you're watching this, you love basketball. Or maybe you just hate me and you just hate watch. So either way, I appreciate y'all supporting. Have a good day.